Hello everyone and welcome today to Stowe Chapel, brought to you this morning from the Temple of Friendship on the far side of the Stowe estate, just beyond the Palladian Bridge. I thought you might like to join me in getting out and about round the school grounds for a change, and it is magnificent here. As the headmaster said in his assembly, yesterday was Blue Monday. The lowest day in the year, apparently. Christmas is now a distant memory. We're still in January. It's still dark when we wake up, and it gets dark soon after lessons end. The weather is cold and damp, unless you're in the Bahamas. But I have good news for you. Blue Monday is behind us. Every day we have 2 minutes, 7 seconds more daylight than we did the day before. So already we have 1 hour's extra daylight compared to the shortest day in the year, just before Christmas. The snowdrops are appearing in my garden. More people have had the COVID vaccination than have had COVID. And it's happy birthday to Grace, Chrissy, Sam, Gus, Gwen and Bella. It's a big day for birthdays. Blue Monday is definitely behind us. I hear someone groan from behind their screen. That chaplain, he's so cheerful. But let me tell you, there have been a few gloomy moments in my week too. Very few people actually enjoy lockdown. Stowe may be a beautiful place, but it's not the same without you all. However, what keeps me going in these testing times are all the good gifts that God gives us. And one of the real positives, I think, of lockdown is that it makes us take stock of what we really value in life. And it helps us to get things into perspective. At the start of term, a couple of weeks ago, we looked at the Epiphany and the arrival of Jesus as a baby, greeted and worshipped by the wise men. And we saw how God has not left us alone in the world. He's joined us, He's lived our life, He's shared in our sufferings. God's greatest gift to His world was the gift of His Son, Jesus. Then last week we looked at worry and the anxiety that we all face, and how God's great gift of prayer helps to make all the difference as we put our problems into perspective and God promises us His peace in the midst of our woes. So in this series of reflections this term on God's good gifts, today I want to look at the gift of friendship. And to introduce this idea, we're going to hear some words of Jesus written in St. John's Gospel and read to us this morning by Ned Ellison.
A reading from John, chapter 15. Jesus said, "My command is this, love each other as I have loved you. Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. You are my friends, if you do what I command. I no longer call you servants, because a servant does not know his master's business. Instead, I have called you friends, for everything that I learned from my Father, I have made known to you. This is my command, love each other."
One of the biggest problems of the lockdown is isolation. It's true, we can chat to each other on various types of devices. You're tuning into this talk. It's true, we're seeing more of our families. I've seen more of my wife in this last year than I have in any of the previous years of our marriage, and it's fantastic. And none of you will be living alone, or at least I hope not. We're not as isolated as some people. But we are all missing our friends. We're missing the chat. We're missing the goss. I loved those early weeks of last term, back in September, when everyone was seeing each other for the first time in 6 months, and the genuine delight there was in catching up with one another and seeing old friends for the first time in a long time. It made me realise that although schools are principally places of learning, actually, crucially, they are places of friendship. God has created us to be social beings. We need one another. We need our friends. And although we can spend time we can't spend time with one another as we usually do, we can still be in touch, but we just have to work harder at it. So make time for that phone call. Send a birthday card or a postcard. Fix a game on Zoom. Fix a Teams chat. Reach out to others. Make the first move. Don't wait for the other person to get in touch. And if you're nearby, you can still go on a socially distanced walk with a friend. Yes, isolation is a problem, and we probably all wish that it wasn't like this. But God's good gift of friendship triumphs. It's still a gift to be enjoyed. It's especially a gift to be enjoyed and cherished now. But it is something to work at. Did you notice two things in the passage that Ned read to us? First, friendship is a command of God. The reading was topped and tailed with the command, love one another. In other words, it's as if Jesus is saying, get on with it. Look out for one another. Take care of one another. That is the Christian's duty, their responsibility. The Christian is called to take the initiative, not to wait for the other person to make the first move. So love one another, Jesus says. The second thing to notice is that friendship can be costly. As in so many areas of life, Jesus is an example to follow. He said, "Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends." He's speaking here to his disciples on the night before his crucifixion. And the next day, he's put to death by the execution squad. He did this for the sake of his friends. He did this because he was taking their punishment. He did this for you and for me. And ever since, for the last 2,000 years, Christians have learned to put others first, to put themselves out for their friends, to look out for them. It's costly, but it makes them great friends. One of God's greatest gifts is the gift of friendship. We can know friendship with one another, and we can know friendship with God Himself. He's always there for us. He's always there for you. We're going to finish this morning by listening to a song entitled "Not About Angels." Have a good day.
So is it wrong to dance this you dare to let it go? 'Cause what about angels? Whoa. And they will come, make us special. Don't give me up. Don't give me up. 'Cause what